Hello and welcome to this special episode of Battle Cry from picturesque Auli in Uttarakhand. This is where the Indian and US armies have been carrying out their annual exercise Yudhh Abhyas. This is not too far away from the line of actual control, and both the armies are focusing on high altitude deployment and warfare at heights more than 10,000 feet. Over the next half an hour, we will bring you everything about this exercise and show you how a day is spent at the exercise with Indian and US soldiers. The Indian Army has a special foreign training node which is the first of its kind at more than 9,500 feet, specially catering to training for high altitude areas. Since the Ladakh standoff in 2020, high altitude deployments have been a critical area for the Indian Army. After this exercise, the Indian Army will have a permanent location to train at these heights all throughout the year. Take a look at this report. Special heli-borne operations, jungle warfare, counter-terror operations. This is all part of the Indo-US exercise Yudhh Abhyas in Auli, Uttarakhand, barely 100 kilometers from the line of actual control.
Exercise Yudhh Abhyas is an annual exercise which is conducted between the US Army and the Indian Army with an aim to learn from each other the best practices to enhance upon our TTPs, that is the tactics, techniques and procedures. In doing this particular exercise, we basically exercise and validate integrated brigade level teams which go, or I would say integrated battle groups which go in for various peacekeeping operations under Chapter 6 and Chapter 7 of UN mandate.
The focus of the 2-week-long exercise is operations in high-altitude areas. The terrain is tough and treacherous, and the winters can be harsh. The location is a special foreign training node of the Indian Army in a high-altitude area. This is at 9,500 feet. The facility was planned last November. Work started in January and has come up in less than a year. Barely 100 kilometers from the line of actual control in Auli, Uttarakhand, special heli-borne operations are being rehearsed by the Indian and US Army troops that are participating in exercise Yudhh Abhyas. This is an exercise that is focusing on operations in high altitude areas. What we are witnessing right now is a slithering operation where troops are being inserted from a Mi-17 helicopter. The helicopter can accommodate up to 24 soldiers with entire battle load, and not just 9,500 feet where this particular training node is located at, but troops will be carrying out several operations at heights up to 12,000 feet. So The focus of this exercise is high altitude operations as far as Indian and US troops are concerned, that are sharing their experiences with each other. This is the first time the exercise is taking place at these heights in the Himalayas. Soldiers from the Indian Army's 9 Assam Regiment and US Army's Denali Squadron, 1st Squadron 40th Cavalry Regiment is participating. With 350 troops from each side, this is a battalion level exercise. The development of the training node is critical for the Indian Army. This gives the Army a place to train for high altitude warfare all year round. Since the Ladakh standoff that started in May 2020, the Indian Army has been ramping up its capabilities for mountain warfare. The annual exercise is hosted alternatively by the two countries. Last year's edition was in Alaska, once again focusing on wargaming in freezing cold. Abhishek, Bhalla and Auli for India Today. From climbing high mountain peaks to jungle warfare and special helicopter operations, the troops of the two armies have been training hard over the last 2 weeks. There is a lot of synergy between the Indian and the US troops who train together every year. Take a look at this report to understand how the Indian and US armies are training together. Agile, flexible and courageous. These tough troops of the Assam Regiment, specializing in unarmed combat, have left the US Army troops awestruck. The US Army troops, part of the exercise Yudhh Abhyas, have got lessons on these skills. Highest levels of fitness makes this possible. Unarmed combat is a critical aspect of warfare today, and what is being rehearsed here is exactly how troops in a situation where they cannot use their weapons but are forced to get involved in a situation where they have to take on the enemy without their weapons. That's when this kind of training and skills come in extremely handy, and this is something that the Indian Army has witnessed in the recent past. There have been several face-offs at the line of actual control. In fact, the biggest example where troops came face to face, exchanged blows, was in Galwan, and in wake of these kind of fierce encounters, this kind of training has become extremely important, and this is something that has been part of the Indo-US exercise Yudhh Abhyas in Auli. The Indian troops have in fact imparted this training to the US counterparts as well, something that the US troops have said that they were very excited about, and this kind of training is essential for situations where weapons cannot be used. It's a skill that not many have. It requires lots of training to make sure that one is adept at unarmed combat.
कहीं ऐसे भी स्थिति मिल सकता है हम लोग को जहां पर हमारे पास हथियार नहीं है, जिस पर हथियार नहीं है उससे अपना ये जो स्किल्स है उसका मदद से अपने आप को बचाव करने के लिए या अपना स्किल का इस्तेमाल करते हुए दुश्मन को अपने काबू में लेके खुद का सेल्फ डिफेंस कर सकता है.
In buddy pairs, Indian and US soldiers train at jungle warfare. in the biting cold as the temperatures dip. The drill is called Jungle Lane, that hones a soldier's reflex firing skills. Restricted visibility and little space to maneuver. The drill is critical for anti-terror operations. Another drill is to zero in on a house where terrorists have taken people hostage.
This particular kill box has been tailored into presenting a real world scenario of what we do as part of our operations for clearing a house. You will right now see a demonstration where it will be displayed how a party going for house intervention initially does the hit, then they get inside, they search the house, clear the house, and the next hit comes and then they clear the next house.
This is a real-time situation of a hostage crisis that is being rehearsed, and in this drill, which is called Kill Box, troops from both the armies, there is a small team that has entered this house where there is a hostage situation to rescue people who are stranded inside. And one very significant aspect of this exercise is that in each team there are a good mix of Indian and US troops. It's not that US troops are carrying out drills separately and the Indians are carrying them out separately, but in each and every rehearsal, drill, every aspect of this exercise has a good blend of soldiers from both the armies working together as a team. And once again we can see the buddy pair that's coming. There is one US soldier and one Indian soldier. Similarly, even behind, all the buddy pairs are coming in a similar manner. These are drills that are being carried out in high altitude areas, and that is essentially the focus of this exercise. This is at 9,500 feet at this point of time, but there are also drills that have been carried out at heights up to 12,000 feet. Various aspects are being war-gamed. The armies of both the countries, the troops of both the sides are working in tandem with each other to rehearse several aspects of warfare and several aspects of carrying out operations at high altitude areas. In the treacherous terrain, sometimes climbing rocks is the only option to reach mountain peaks. One of the biggest challenges of high mountain warfare is lack of road connectivity. To reach high peaks, many a time soldiers have to climb rocks straight as these. That's exactly what is being rehearsed here. The Indian and US Army troops at a rock climbing drill at this point of time, training together, just like everything else that they've been doing, be it training, be it spending time getting to understand each other's tactics on the ground. Troops from both the sides, if you see carefully, it's them working together. It's not that they are working separately. And a similar exercise is happening there in the background, where a US troop along with the Indian Army troop is carrying out the drill. This is an extremely important aspect of this exercise, because this exercise is focusing on high altitude deployment of soldiers, and for that climbing peaks is one of the biggest challenges. With camera person Nasir Khan in Auli, Abhishek Bhalla for India Today. Unarmed aerial vehicles or drones are the next big challenge for any security force in conflict zones. The Indian Army has been finding ways to combat drones. Drone warfare is set to be the future of the wars that will be fought. The Indian Army has found a new warrior to take on these drones. Meet Arjun, Indian Army's new drone warrior that has been carrying out several drills at this exercise in Auli. Perched on an Indian Army soldier's hand, this kite is quick to take a flight, detecting its target. That's Arjun, one of Indian Army's new anti-drone warriors. As the bird soars into the sky, fitted with a camera mounted on its head, there is a handler monitoring the flight. So the target, a quadcopter, is locked and taken down. This is a unique combination of a dog's instincts and the bird's hawk-eye that is part of a new tactic to take drones down. The dogs, on hearing the buzzing sound of a hovering UAV, raises an alarm. That's when the bird is let off to detect the target, and within minutes it's down. The entire demonstration was part of a drill during exercise Yudhh Abhyas. The Indian Army's veterinary corps has been training these birds as part of a new tactic to combat drones. Not just anti-drone operations, the birds can also be used for surveillance with cameras mounted on their heads. Every activity that the camera catches is monitored from the ground. What started as a pilot project in 2020 has finally got the wings. In this era of drone warfare, unique ways are being found to combat UAVs. One of the experiments of the Indian Army that has been validated at the exercise Yudhh Abhyas is how a bird, a kite, in fact, can take on a drone. It's mounted with a camera, and with the help of a dog that can detect the sound of an incoming drone, the kite is controlled by one soldier on the ground who has a monitor, and because the kite is it's mounted with a camera, all the activities as it flies can be monitored closely from the ground. So this is one of the unique ways in which the Indian Army is looking at combating drones. This is something that is still at the experimental stage, but what the Indian Army is saying is that in time to come, it's methods like this that will be used to take on drones, especially in forward locations. There's always a lot of interest amongst soldiers to understand each other's weapons. What are the rifles that their counterparts are using? The US forces have got some sophisticated weapons during this exercise. I caught up with a few of them to understand what their weaponry looks like. Take a look. We'll show you the weapons that the US Army has brought in for this exercise, and we'll get to know from their officers what exactly these weapons are, how do they function. So can you explain to us, this looks like a sniper. Can you just give us the basic details of this weapon?
No problem. So this is the M110 semi-automatic sniper system. It is chambered in 7.62 by 51, and we shoot a hollow point boat tail match round. It is semi-automatic, and this is carried by the senior member of a sniper team. It's made by Knight's Armament Company. It's got a Leupold Mark V optic as well as a suppressor, and is fed by a 20-round box magazine. We can use this for various operations such as overwatching maneuvering elements in urban operations, or it can actually be used for precision fire if we need to get multiple guns up.
Right. Here is a rifle, and we'll get to know what sort of a rifle is the US Army using. Can you give us details of this, sir?
Yes, this is the M4A1 rifle. It chambers 5.56, 130 round magazine. The max range is 3,600 meters. For area target, it is 600 meters. For point target, it is 500 meters. Right here is the PEC-15 laser. It has daytime and nighttime laser. The IR laser on low beam can reach out to about 600 meters. On high beam, it can reach up to 2 kilometers. That's it.
What about this weapon, sir? Can you give us a brief into this looks like a light machine gun.
Yes, so
isn't
this
it?
is actually our heavy machine gun carried by our mounted scouts. So this could be mounted or dismounted, carried by the service member. This is also chambered 7.62 millimeter. This is our open bolt gas-operated weapon system. It's capable of shooting rounds up to 650 to 950 rounds per minute, depending on how it's fired. And comes with a spare barrel and ways to hold rounds to initiate with.
Is it possible for me to just get the rifle?
Yes.
Get a feel of the rifle?
Yeah.
So that's the rifle that the US forces use, and it's a little cumbersome with the mic, but yeah, it's pretty light.
It weighs about 7.5 pounds or
Yes.
2.5 kilograms.
Okay, so that's a decent weight, I think, for the soldiers to carry. Thank you so much. The pistol also?
Yes. So this is the M17 6-hour short recoil operated pistol.
So this is this is a 6-hour. So we use the 6-hour rifle that has come to the Indian Army recently. So there's a pistol.
Yep. It's got 17 round magazine capacity. Effective range is 50 meters. That's what the sights are sighted for. Muzzle velocity is like 360 meters per second. Length total 8 inches. Just the barrel is 5.4 inches. Weight unloaded without any rounds is about 1.8 pounds, which is about
Every soldier has this?
no. So
And what about this? Can you give us a brief into this launcher?
Yeah, this is a 84 millimeter Carl Gustav recoilless rifle.
Okay.
So it shoots 84 millimeter rockets of different sorts.
Shoulder fired?
Yep. It weighs about 15 pounds or 6.6 kilos.
Can you just give a demo on your shoulder?
On my shoulder?
Is it possible? So you'll just get a sense of this weapon, how it's fired.
About right here.
Yeah.
Yep. It's a two-man gun team, so you'll have a loader in the rear on the opposite side to load your rounds. You can shoot about 6 rounds per day, and then you have to switch gunners because of the shockwave. And yeah, that's about it.
So these were the weapons that the US forces have brought in for this exercise, and we just got a brief demo into what these weapons exactly are. With camera person Nasir Khan in Auli, this is Abhishek Bhalla for India Today.